Coffee Break. Thoughtful conversations for a busy world. Let's begin.
I want to start this deep dive with a statement that honestly hit me like a freight train when I was reading through our source material.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a quote that completely flips the script on how we usually think about, being a quote-unquote good person in a work environment.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
You probably do. Honestly, it made me put the tablet down and just stare at the wall for a minute. You ready for this?
I am absolutely ready. Lay it on us.
All right. The source says, if your goal is to make everyone happy, you aren't a leader, you're a hostage.
Oof. It's visceral, isn't it?
It is incredibly intense. I mean, usually when we talk about people-pleasing, it's framed as this soft, almost harmless personality quirk.
Right, like a humble brag almost.
Exactly. I just care too much, or I just really want everyone to get along. It sounds nice. It sounds benevolent. But calling it a hostage situation, that implies a total loss of control. It implies danger. It implies, that there is a gun to your head.
And that is exactly why this deep dive is so critical. We are looking at a stack of sources today that center around a theme we're calling the price of approval based on the material leading beyond likability.
Yeah.
And the reason that hostage metaphor is used is because when you need someone else's validation to feel safe or to make a decision, you have effectively handed them the keys to your agency.
You're not driving the car anymore.
You are no longer driving the car. Their emotions are driving the car.
That is a terrifying image, especially if you're trying to run a business or lead a team. But I want to push back on it slightly just to play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Is it really that dramatic? I mean, we live in a society. We have to get along with people, right? Is caring about what people think really being a hostage? Or is that just hyperbole to sell a concept?
It feels like hyperbole until you actually look at the results. Think about it this way. If you change a strategic direction because you're afraid one person in the room will sigh loudly, who is in charge? You or the sigh? If you don't fire a toxic employee who is destroying your company culture because you are afraid of the awkward conversation, who is running the company? You or the fear of awkwardness?
You're running the company based on avoiding a bad feeling.
That is the hostage dynamic. It's subtle, but it's absolute. You are negotiating for your emotional freedom every single day.
Okay, when you put it that way, the sigh being in charge is actually a really pathetic but accurate image. It's like we are held captive by the micro-expressions of the people around us.
Precisely. Today, we aren't just talking about social awkwardness or being polite. We are unpacking the very real, very expensive silent tax that people-pleasing levies on your progress and your profit.
Silent tax. I love that phrasing, even though I deeply hate the concept. So let's define our mission for this deep dive.
Let's do it.
We are looking at the psychological and financial costs of seeking validation in business and in adulthood.
Right. And we should be really clear about who we are talking to here. This is for the learner profile. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a manager, a team lead, or honestly just an adult who struggles to set boundaries, if you have ever said yes when your gut was screaming no...
Which is all of us, let's be real.
Exactly. Or if you've ever undercharged a client because you didn't want them to think you were expensive, this conversation is for you.
We want to understand why we prioritize being liked over being effective. And more importantly, how to stop paying this nice guy tax. Because, spoiler alert from the source material, being liked and being respected are not the same thing.
They are often mutually exclusive, especially in high-stakes environments, and that is a really hard pill to swallow for those of us raised on the idea that if you're just nice enough, success will naturally follow.
So let's unpack that first. The economics of likability versus respect. The source makes a really bold claim that you can't always have both.
No, you can't.
Why is that? Why can't I be the super chill, lovable boss who is also deeply respected and highly effective? Why do I have to choose?
It's a lovely fantasy, isn't it? The benevolent monarch whom everyone adores. But here's the reality check the source provides, and it's backed by some fascinating social psychology. Likability is based on comfort. It's based on affinity, ease, and a lack of friction. If I like you, it usually means you make me feel good, you affirm my worldview, or you don't challenge me too much.
You're easy to be around.
Right. Respect, on the other hand, is based on competence, integrity, and the ability to make difficult calls.
And difficult calls usually involve friction.
Exactly. Friction is the enemy of likability, but it is the fuel of respect. If you are constantly smoothing over every rough edge to maintain likability, you are removing the friction necessary to sharpen the blade of your business or your team's performance.
So you're just dulling everything down.
Yes. The source suggests that in high-stakes situations, negotiations, performance reviews, strategic pivots, these goals diverge. If you choose likability, you sacrifice the hard truth. If you choose the hard truth, which gains you respect, you sacrifice temporary comfort.
But why is the default setting for so many of us to choose likability?
Right.
I mean, I know plenty of smart, competent people who turn into absolute jelly the moment they have to deliver bad news. Is it just that we want to be nice?
It goes deeper than just wanting to be nice. It's evolutionary. This is a hardware issue we are dealing with.
Hardware issue, like in our brains.
Exactly. Think about our ancestors. We are tribal animals. If you were disliked by the Prive in the Paleolithic era, you didn't just get uninvited to the party. You were ostracized. You were cast out.
And out there, alone, you die.
You starve or a tiger eats you. So we have this hardware in our brains, specifically the amygdala, that screams danger, death, imminent, whenever we sense someone is displeased with us.
Wow.
Social rejection actually registers in the brain in the same centers that process physical pain.
That explains so much. So when I have to tell a client, no, I can't do that extra work for free, and my stomach drops and my palms sweat, that's my caveman brain thinking I'm about to be eaten by a tiger.
Essentially, yes. Your amygdala creates a literal survival response to a social threat. But here's the problem. We are not on the savannah anymore. We are in a marketplace.
Right.
And in a marketplace, likability is a very low-value currency compared to effectiveness.
Let's dig into that term, low-value currency.
Yeah.
That's a really strong economic framing for a social trait.
Think about it. If you are a surgeon, I don't need to like you. I don't need you to ask about my weekend or laugh at my jokes.
I just need you to not kill me.
Exactly. I need to respect your ability to cut me open and save my life. If you are a CEO, your employees don't need to want to have a beer with you.
Yeah.
They need to trust that you aren't going to drive the company off a cliff because you were too afraid to fire an incompetent VP.
So respect is the currency of competence, and likability is the currency of what? Social lubrication.
That's a great way to put it. It's a social lubricant. It's usable. We aren't saying be a jerk. We aren't saying you should be abrasive just for the sake of it.
Right. Nobody wants to work with a monster.
But if you have pockets full of likability currency, you can't buy high-performance results with it. You can't buy market dominance with it. You are bankrupting yourself in the process of accumulating a currency that doesn't spend where it matters.
You can be the nicest person in the poorhouse.
Precisely.
This leads us directly to the concept of opportunity cost. I love applying economic terms to psychology because it makes the invisible visible. Break down the opportunity cost of yes for us.
The source puts it this way: how saying yes to keep the peace is actually saying no to your primary goals.
Because you only have so much capacity.
Every time you agree to something to avoid conflict or to be a quote-unquote team player when it doesn't align with your mission, you are stealing resources from your actual priorities.
It's a zero-sum game. You don't just have infinite time.
It is entirely zero-sum. Time is finite. Energy is finite. Cognitive bandwidth is finite. If you spend an hour placating a needy client who isn't paying you enough, or listening to an employee vent about a problem they refuse to actually solve, that is an hour you physically cannot spend on high-level strategy or business development.
You aren't just being nice. You are actively sabotaging your primary objective.
Exactly.
I see this all the time in decision-making timelines. A leader wants everyone to agree on a direction before moving forward. They think they're building consensus. I want everyone on board. It feels inclusive.
But often, let's be honest, they are just seeking safety.
Oh, 100%.
If everyone agrees, then if it fails, it's not my fault, it's our fault. It's the diffusion of responsibility. But the source points out that this need for external approval slows down decision-making dramatically.
How so?
If you need everyone to feel good about a decision, you move at the speed of the slowest common denominator. You move at the speed of the most hesitant person in the room.
Wow. Moving at the speed of the slowest common denominator. That is a silent killer of momentum right there.
And in business, speed matters. Imperfect action is almost always better than perfect inaction. But the people pleaser chooses inaction because action risks disapproval.
They don't want to ruffle feathers.
They would rather the ship sink slowly while everyone holds hands than steer the ship sharply and cause someone to fall over.
That is a haunting image. Okay, so we've established the mindset problem and the evolutionary trap. Now I want to get into the brass tacks, the numbers.
Let's do the math.
The source talks about the nice guy tax. And to be clear to you listening, this isn't a literal tax you pay to the government, though it feels just as mandatory for some people.
No, it's a leakage of resources. It's money falling out of a hole in your pocket that you refuse to sew up because you're afraid the needle might prick you.
Let's look at scenario A from our notes, the client and scope creep. I think every freelancer, agency owner, or service provider listening just shuddered.
The classic, just one more thing.
Yes. Hey, can you just quickly change this? Can we just add this one little feature? Could you hop on a quick call? And we say yes. Why do we say yes? Why don't we just say, sure, that's $500?
We say yes because of that evolutionary fear we talked about earlier. We are afraid that if we say, no, that's out of scope, or yes, but it costs extra, the client will get angry.
Yeah, I think they'll fire us on the spot.
They will think we are petty. They will think we are nickel and diming them. And the ultimate fear is that the relationship will sour and we will lose the contract entirely. We prioritize the relationship over the transaction.
But the source calls this unpaid invoices.
Because that's what it is. Let's make this real. Say your billable rate is roughly $200 an hour.
Okay, $200 an hour, standard rate for a solid consultant.
Now, suppose you do little favors that add up to just 2 hours a week, a 15-minute call here, a 30-minute revision there. That doesn't feel like much. It feels generous.
No, it feels negligible in the moment. It just feels like good customer service.
But that is $400 a week. Multiply that by 50 working weeks a year. That is $20,000.
Oh my gosh.
You are effectively writing a check for $20,000 to your client for the privilege of them liking you.
Ouch. When you put it like that, if someone asked me to just hand them 20 grand cash from my wallet, I'd say, are you crazy? I'd call the police. But I'll gladly give them $20,000 worth of my time just to avoid an awkward 3-minute conversation about scope.
Exactly. And it impacts cash flow directly, not just in scope creep, but in collections. The source mentions the hesitancy to chase money. You send the invoice. It's late. 3 days late, 5 days late.
And you sit there refreshing your email, hoping they just quote-unquote forgot.
You don't want to be annoying, so you wait a week to follow up, then another week. Then you send a really apologetic email. So sorry to bother you, just checking in.
Oh, I hate that email.
Yeah.
I've sent that email.
That is your liquidity being held hostage by your need to be seen as chill. You are literally financing your client's business with your own anxiety. You are an interest-free bank for people who don't respect your payment terms.
We treat business like it's a friendship. You don't nag a friend for gas money, but this isn't friendship.
No, it's business. And ironically, professional clients expect you to chase invoices. They expect you to define scope. The source makes a fascinating point here regarding value signals.
Value signals.
Yes. When you don't enforce boundaries, you don't look nice. You look amateur.
That is a really harsh truth. Being a pushover doesn't make you look like a saint. It makes you look like you don't value your own product.
Precisely. Value signals are communicated by boundaries. Think about luxury brands. Do they negotiate? Do they apologize for their price?
Never.
No. Their boundaries create their value. If your boundaries are porous, your perceived value drops. If you are always available, you must not be very in demand. If you work for free, your work must not be worth very much.
That stinks, but it's completely true. We teach people how to treat us.
We do. And in business, if you teach people that you are a doormat, they will wipe their feet. Not because they're evil, but because that is what doormats are for.
Let's move to scenario B, the collaboration mask. This is one that really snuck up on me while reading the material. The source describes fear of conflict disguised as collaboration.
This is huge in corporate environments. We have this buzzword collaboration. We love it. It sounds so progressive. It sounds modern.
Very egalitarian.
But the source argues that a lot of what we call collaboration is actually just a leader who is terrified of making a solo decision.
We trick ourselves, right? We sit there and think, I'm being democratic, I'm an inclusive leader.
Right. But ask yourself, are you calling this meeting because you genuinely need the diverse expertise of these 8 people to solve a complex problem? Or are you calling this meeting because you don't want to be the one to say, we are cutting this project, or we are pivoting to this strategy?
It's the diffusion of responsibility again. If we all decide, I can't be blamed.
And it's a massive resource drain. If you have 5 people in a room for an hour because you want consensus to feel liked, that is 5 man-hours of salary burned on an emotional safety blanket.
I've been in those meetings. The ones that go in circles for 45 minutes because the leader refuses to just pick a lane?
It goes back to the hostage idea.
Yeah.
You are held hostage by the need for the room to nod their heads. You are looking for that visual confirmation that you are safe.
And true leadership often involves the room not nodding their heads.
It involves saying, I know you all disagree and I hear you, but this is the direction we are going. That is respected. The let's talk until everyone is happy approach is just exhausting. There's a concept called the Abilene paradox, where a group of people collectively decide on a course of action that is counter to the preferences of many or all of the individuals in the group.
Wait, how does that happen?
They all go to Abilene, even though none of them wanted to go because nobody wanted to be the one to rock the boat. They all thought they were pleasing everyone else.
That is the ultimate tragedy of people-pleasing. We all end up somewhere nobody wanted to be just because we were too polite to speak up.
Precisely.
Let's deepen that hostage dynamic with scenario C, the underperforming employee. This is probably the most painful one for people to deal with because it involves someone's livelihood.
It is, because it involves a human being. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet anymore.
So you have a team member, let's call him Dave. Dave just isn't cutting it. Maybe he's missing deadlines. Maybe his work is really sloppy. But Dave is a nice guy. You like Dave.
Dave's great in the break room.
He brings donuts. He remembers your birthday. So you don't confront him.
You avoid the awkward conversation to, quote unquote, be kind. That is the narrative running in your head. I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want to be the bad guy. Maybe he's having a hard month. Maybe he'll just get better on his own.
But the source flips this. It says that this isn't kindness. It's actually selfishness. That stopped me in my tracks. How is not firing or disciplining Dave selfish?
Unpack that. Who are you protecting? Are you protecting Dave? No, you are protecting yourself from feeling guilty. You are prioritizing your desire to sleep easy at night over the success of the mission and the health of the team.
Oh, wow.
And let's look at the cost here. It's not just Dave's salary, it's the morale of the high performers.
Oh, totally. If I'm busting my hump to get things done, staying late, delivering excellence, and I see Dave over there doing half the work but getting the same paycheck and the same good job team emails, I'm going to completely check out.
High performers crave fairness and high standards. When a leader tolerates mediocrity to be nice, the high performers lose respect for the leader. They see the leader as weak. They see the standards as fake.
And eventually, they leave.
And eventually, the high performers leave. So the cost of keeping Dave isn't just Dave's salary. It's the cost of replacing your best talent who got tired of carrying Dave.
It's Gresham's law of management. Bad behavior drives out good behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about Dave? Are we actually helping him? This touches on the concept of ruinous empathy.
Ruinous empathy. I like that term.
By not giving Dave clear feedback, by not telling him he's failing, you are denying him the chance to improve. Or you are denying him the realization that he is in the wrong job and needs to find a place where he can actually succeed.
You're trapping him.
You are letting him stagnate because you don't want to have a 20-minute hard talk. That is not kindness. That is negligence.
True kindness is clarity. That's a line to put on a sticky note.
Absolutely. False kindness is fuzzy. It's ambiguous. True kindness is clear, even when it stings. A surgeon cutting out a tumor hurts, but it saves the patient. A leader cutting out incompetence hurts, but it saves the team.
We've talked a lot about business clients, employees, but the source material also touches on the personal cost. The nice guy tax isn't just about money. It's about emotional energy. This brings us to scenario D, the time vampire.
We all have one.
We do. The friend, the acquaintance, the family member who just drains you. They treat your time like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
The source frames setting boundaries here as a form of professional and personal self-respect.
It's interesting that they use the word self-respect. Usually we think of boundaries as something we do to other people. You know, I'm setting a boundary on you. But this frames it as something we do for ourselves.
Think about it this way. If you leave your front door wide open, unlocked, 24/7, you are telling the neighborhood that you don't value what is inside your house.
Right.
You are saying, come in, take the TV, take the jewelry, I don't care. If you leave your calendar and your emotional bandwidth wide open to anyone who wants to take it, you are broadcasting that you don't value your time.
And if you don't value your time, no one else will.
Correct. The time vampire doesn't think they're doing anything wrong. They are just walking through an open door. They will take as much as you give. The silent tax here is your own burnout.
It's the exhaustion.
It's the hobbies you don't pursue, the rest you don't get, the side hustle you don't start, the time with your kids you miss because you spent 3 hours listening to someone complain about a problem they have no intention of solving.
That's the key, isn't it? They have no intention of solving it. They just want the validation. They want the emotional dumping ground.
And you, as the people pleaser, provide it. You are paying the tax with your life minutes. And unlike money, you can't print more minutes.
So we know we need to stop. We know it's costing us money, respect, and sanity. But how? This is the hardest part. The Source has a section on the psychology of the backbone. I love that. How to build a backbone without becoming a jerk.
That is the fear, isn't it? We think there are only 2 switches, doormat or dictator.
Right. I'm either a saint who says yes to everything, or I'm a monster who crushes dreams.
But there is a massive middle ground called assertive professionalism. The Source emphasizes that boundaries are not attacks on others. This is a crucial mindset shift. Saying no to you is not me hitting you. It is me building a fence around my garden. It is defensive, not offensive.
I like that visualization. But practically, how do I do it? Because I struggle with this. I always want to explain, I can't do that because my cat is sick and I have this other deadline and I'm really sorry.
And that is exactly where you lose. The Source is very specific about this. Over-explaining is a symptom of people-pleasing. When you over-explain, what you are actually doing is trying to manage the other person's reaction.
I'm trying to soften the blow.
You are giving them a list of reasons, hoping that one of them will make them say, "Oh, it's okay, I understand, I still like you."
I'm asking for permission to say no.
Exactly. You are asking for their validation of your refusal. But here is the tactical error. When you give reasons, you give the other person handles to grab onto. You give them leverage.
Give me an example of how that backfires.
Okay. Let's say a client asks for a meeting on Tuesday. You say, "I can't do Tuesday because I have to finish this report for another client."
Which is true, presumably.
It's true, but listen to what the client hears. They hear, "Oh, so if you finish that report early, or if that report isn't actually that important, or if I can convince you that my project is more important than that client, you can meet."
Oh, wow.
They start problem-solving your excuse. "Well, can't you do the report Wednesday? This is urgent."
Right. I gave them an opening for a negotiation. I invited them into my calendar management.
Whereas if you say, "I'm not available on Tuesday, Thursday works better," there is nothing to argue with. You have stated a fact about your availability. It is a wall, not a curtain.
It feels so cold, though. I'm not available. It feels incomplete.
Feels cold to you because you are addicted to warmth. You are addicted to the feeling of being accommodating. To the other person, honestly, it just feels clear. Most people actually appreciate brevity. They are busy, too. They don't need your life story. They just need to know when you can meet.
Addicted to warmth. That is a diagnosis right there.
So let's get into the practical application. The Source offers the art of the clean no.
Yes, let's script this. Because in the moment when the adrenaline is pumping and the amygdala is screaming, I revert to my default settings. How do we do this?
The technique is to separate the rejection of the request from the rejection of the person. The script requires a mindset shift first. I am not rejecting you as a person. I am protecting my resources from my primary goals.
Okay, mindset first. I am protecting my resources.
Now, the vocal technique. It needs to be firm, neutral, and brief. We use an acronym from the Source. No JD.
JD.
JDE. Justify, argue, defend, explain, do not JD.
Okay, no JD. That's catchy. I like that.
So let's role play the client asking for free extra work. "Hey, can you just mock up 3 more versions? It shouldn't take long." How does the people pleaser answer?
The people pleaser says, "Oh man, I'd love to, but I'm really swamped right now. And honestly, my contract says only 2 rounds and I don't want to be a stickler, but I have this other thing due."
See? Weak, apologetic, negotiable. You've already lost. Now, how does the leader answer using the clean no?
Okay, let me try. I'm happy to do that. That will fall under a new scope of work. I can send over an estimate for those additional hours this afternoon. Do you want me to proceed?
Boom. Perfect. Did you notice what you did there?
I didn't actually say the word no.
You didn't say no and you didn't say sorry. You just stated the reality of the transaction. I can do X, but the cost is Y. You put the choice back in their court. You aren't refusing. You are defining the terms. If they say yes, you get paid. If they say no, you don't do the work. Either way, you win.
It feels so much more empowering.
Yeah.
What about the time vampire friend? Hey, can I come over and vent for 4 hours tonight?
The clean no would be, "I can't tonight. I've got some things I need to focus on, but let's catch up next week."
Again, no, I'm sorry.
You can say, I'm sorry, if you are genuinely sorry that you can't make it, like if you actually wanted to see them. But don't use I'm sorry as a filler for please don't be mad at me. And frankly, you shouldn't be sorry for prioritizing your own mental health.
It's about reframing the narrative in your own head. I'm shifting from I'm being mean to I'm being effective.
And this connects back to the very beginning. Real progress requires the willingness to be disliked temporarily, to be respected permanently.
That's the trade-off. Temporary discomfort for permanent respect.
Think about the leaders you respect the most in your life. The mentors, the old bosses, the teachers. Were they the ones who let you get away with everything? Were they the ones who always said yes?
No, definitely not. They were the ones who held the line. They were the ones who told me when I messed up. They were the ones who demanded better.
Exactly. They had boundaries. And because they had boundaries, their praise actually mattered. When a people pleaser compliments you, it means nothing because they compliment everyone just to keep the peace.
It's diluted.
When a stern, respected leader compliments you, it's gold. It's earned. You want your yes to mean something, then your no has to mean something.
That is so powerful. If your no is broken, your yes is worthless.
Precisely.
This has been a serious reality check. We've covered a lot of ground today. We started with the hostage metaphor, how seeking approval hands over your agency to anyone with an opinion. We've looked at the economics. Likability is a depreciating asset. Respect is an appreciating one.
We tallied up the nice guy tax, the thousands of dollars lost to scope creep, and the massive amount of time lost to indecision and collaboration theater.
And we looked at the leadership deficit, how being kind to an underperformer like Dave is actually cruel to the rest of the team. And finally, the clean no. Stop JEing. Stop justifying, arguing, defending, and explaining.
It's a complete toolkit for reclaiming your agency. But it takes practice. You won't get it right the first time. You will feel guilt.
The guilt is very real.
The guilt is just your amygdala trying to keep you safe in the tribe. Acknowledge it, thank it for trying to help, and then proceed with the clean no anyway.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's synthesize this into one final thought. The big aha moment for me is that I am paying a tax I didn't sign up for. I didn't fill out a form for the nice guy tax, but I'm paying it every single day.
You are paying it. And the only way to stop paying it is to realize that you have a finite amount of time and energy on this planet. You have a mission, you have goals. Every ounce of energy you spend managing someone else's emotions is energy you are not spending on your own potential.
It's time to stop being a hostage.
It absolutely is.
I want to leave our listener with a provocative thought. We talked about the courage to be the bad guy in someone else's story. That sounds negative on the surface, but flip it.
Right. Look at the other side.
Here's the question I want you to walk away with. Who are you failing to serve right now because you are too busy trying to please everyone else?
That's the one. By trying to please the person in front of you, are you failing your future self? Are you failing your family who gets the exhausted version of you? Are you failing your loyal customers because you're too busy catering to the loud, demanding ones?
Audit your nice guy tax this week. Look at your calendar. Look at your bank account. See where you are paying for approval. And then try giving a clean no, just one, see what happens.
The world won't end, but your respect will grow.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Thanks for spending this time with us on Coffee Break. If this conversation stayed with you, you can find more episodes here on the channel. Until next time, take care.